Hello and welcome to the Ardent Gooners Network. Been a busy few days for us here on the channel. We've been doing a lot of different videos, and one of the things we've been talking about is VAR, known as the virtual assistant referee. And I've got Josh here with me. Check his channel out. It's Joshua ETV, if I'm not
Joshua the
mistaken.
ETV official. Joshua the ETV official.
Yes,
That's what
Joshua
it's called.
ETV official.
And
Good.
also, yeah, just to say, not just that only, of course, for the people that see me interview me on the channel, they've also like seen me from AFTV. They've recognized me. That I go on AFTV fan cams after Arsenal games and the VJL show. So some of you might have recognized me from AFTV and VJL. So yeah.
Absolutely. This guy is a very big deal in the fan community, very well known, does a lot of videos. So please do check his content out. Now, without further ado, we are going to dive into today's topic, something I'm very passionate about, as some of you will have heard me say last night, VAR. But we've got a fresh opinion because we've got a new face today. We've got Josh on. So I'm just going to dive in then. VAR, as it stands, I don't like it. What do you think?
To be honest with you, you have every right to not like it. Like you see me, Adam. Yeah, I'm very passionate Arsenal fan, and I hate VAR. Now, the most thing that I've been really frustrated about this season. I mean, I know it's a shame we don't win the league. I'm not really happy about that, but there's something I'm really angry about this season. And guess what? You've invited the right person to come talk to you about it. Because guess what? Every single time I used to go Arsenal games, yeah, and I say with Sammy, sometimes I always say, why is there always VAR? Because let's just say I look back on previous games and when there's VAR, they cancel Kai Havertz's goal, they cancel Saka's goal. Something reminded me Arsenal versus Bayern Munich. Yeah, I remember when we were so close, yeah, to winning like that first leg of the Champions League quarter final. Yeah, but when Saka got fouled in the box and the goalkeeper kicked him like in his leg, how did the referee not even see that? And fans were literally complaining. Like it was 60,000 Arsenal fans. I remember that they're complaining about the ref not checking VAR, that he didn't even give that pen. And VAR said, nah, that's no penalty. And VAR is just allowing other teams get away with it, yeah? Like I think allowing other teams score and get away, but like if Arsenal score, the referee will keep checking and checking to see that if it's offside and all that, because they think Arsenal don't know how to play well, but the Arsenal players do know how to play well. It's just the referees, some stupid referees that don't really like our club, that they like checking VAR. It's bullshit. I'm sorry to say it like that. It's bullshit. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think for me, VAR, I cited a few examples last night. So with our games, the Newcastle game away at St James's Park last season, that was an absolute farce. The goal that was given, Anthony Gordon's winning goal, we would have got a point out of the game at least had that not stood. We may have even won the game. So that changed the whole course of that game. The referee didn't do the right checks. And I think they did say in the end that they thought they'd come to the right conclusion, which was, pardon my French, a load of crap. Because later, an ex-Arsenal player, Joe Willock, came out and said, yep, the ball went out of play. And then we had that game, the Chelsea-Spurs game a couple of seasons ago, ended 2-2. Chelsea should have had a penalty. And Mike Dean came out and said, oh, no, I couldn't send him to the monitor because he'd had a terrible game and he's my mate. So I didn't want to put him under that sort of stress. What an absolute joke. If
It
you've
is a
got
joke. Like, why can't you know one thing? Why something I say to myself, yeah, I just wish that in this life, yeah, with football, let just referee just check with his eyes, yeah, to see if it's a goal or not. Why does there have to be a VR in this? Like, I just wish that VR never existed. You know, VR stands for like virtual assistance refereeing. And the thing is, yeah, I just really wish something like that, yeah, just never existed, because I'm just fed up of going to Arsenal games, yeah, and then when Arsenal players score and they disallow it, like even when they disallow Kai Havertz goal, like even like towards the last game of the season against Bournemouth, yeah, that we were like 2 steps away from like winning the league. But even though we didn't, I mean, obviously when Kai Havertz goal, yeah, that there's remember he scored against Bournemouth, they disallowed it. Of course, I've never seen Kai Havertz in for real score. I've seen him score on TV, but not for real. And the day I scored in score, yeah, and then the ref disallowed it, I was really pissed off the referee, because I like Kai Havertz. You see, do you know why I'm mentioning Kai Havertz? Because his goal, yeah, and you know that he wasn't good at the start of the season. Even in the third game of this season that's just finished, yeah, against Fulham he fucked it up, but at least he improved. Yeah, even when he scored his debut like against Bournemouth, like, he really improved throughout this whole season. Yeah, a lot of Arsenal fans began to like him, and he knows when to run up and score. And everyone knows that he can play well, he can play in the right position well. So when he scored against Bournemouth, why did the referee disallow that? And I don't think referees here know how to like referee a proper game. And I always say those referees here need to like always go like spec savers because they need to like get checked over the eyes. They don't know what they're refereeing at, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with me?
Absolutely. I agree with you. I think, I said to everybody last night, and check that video out if you haven't seen it, everybody. It's posted on the Ardent Gooners Network YouTube channel. But what I said was, if you've got all of this stuff to help you and you aren't able to use it properly, now that seems to be the problem, that the technology is essentially a machine. And I should correct, it's actually the video assistant referee, guys. So I got that wrong, but it's still a virtual assistant referee in a sense because it's not actually there. It's somebody doing it at Stockley Park. But if they're not able to use the technology properly, should we not go back to a time where if the referee makes a mistake, he makes a mistake? And at least if he makes a mistake, it's an honest mistake. Because what we've got as Arsenal fans, and I don't know what you think, Josh, but we've got a situation where we're finding that referees, despite having all of the help there, still come to the wrong conclusion. And that's a problem.
They do like when like because you know one thing, let's just say for example like players like if Martinelli, who I see like usually like plays on the left, and he crosses to wherever in the box, as in like when they sack Coca Havertz and they head of one into the back of the net, they're in the right position, like where Havertz will play, that he will play in the middle. You know, Saka will, maybe Arteta will put Saka on the right way. You know them way there, like honestly. So I say when they play that right position and then the ref like just disallows their goal. They do that a lot. It really needs to stop. And it's been going on all season. Like, I've been going to a lot of Arsenal games every single month. And I'm just fed up of like all this VAR that next season, yeah, when the season like begins again, like next season, it just needs to stop. It really does need to stop because a lot of referees are getting criticized nowadays by 60,000 Arsenal fans. Why they get disallowing the goal, yeah? Like referees from the Premier League, referees from the UEFA. Like there was one Spanish referee that couldn't referee a proper Champions League game against Bayern Munich that you get fouled in the box. It's definitely a pen. How could you counsel that? Like, pen and like when a player like Saka gets fouled in the box, yeah, and you don't call that penalty, like we need to like hear from you, like what you lot think about VAR, like and all that. You could drop in the comments because one thing, if VAR like is just still around, it can really wind up Arsenal fans. I know Arsenal fans really, really hate it when they check their VAR because I see them cussing. I see them cussing a lot of the referee. I do that as well. I cuss a lot of the referee for checking VAR because they just want to cancel or go to referee. It's just being selfish. You're just being greedy. You don't do it with other football teams from the Premier League. Why do you do it with us? The referees are just so greedy, and I'm just sick to death of it. Sick to death of all these referees, to be honest with you. And it's really pissed me off all season, to be honest with you. And it has to stop.
Yeah, we're in the same way on that opinion. I think the standard of refereeing, and this is something that I've said on VJ Walle's show, again, somebody to check out if you're interested in Arsenal content. But I've said on his show before that I think the standard of refereeing is abysmal, and I stand by that. I think we are on the end of bad decisions time and time again. And it's not just this season, last season, the season before. We've seen just atrocious decisions. We go back to Granit Xhaka. How many times did he get a red card? Were all of those red cards deserved? No, I don't think so. We seem to be the club that suffered the most adverse refereeing decisions. Now,
exactly.
I'm wrong, but I'm not wrong. I know.
And speaking of like, who just Granit Xhaka, yeah, something really reminds me. In FA Cup 2020, 2022 FA Cup final, I think there was one player that I remember it scored. It could have been either David Luiz or somebody else. I can't even remember who scored. Yeah, to like I think it was like to try and make it one, and then obviously I think it was like I think they disallowed it. That they were checking to see like if it's a goal, but if it was not, it was offside. I remember they did that in FA Cup final. And that day, yeah, like it was during COVID time. Arsenal, yeah, we were like so lucky we won that because imagine if not for the VAR and the FA Cup final that cancelled those goals and we don't even win anything. Like, Arteta won us that trophy. Obviously Arteta still needs to win us bigger trophies in the FA Cup, like the league and the Champions League, since Arsenal finished second, will qualify for the Champions League next season. But apart from that, yeah, according to the FA Cup final, where ref checked VAR, I just it's a joke. Like you said, it's a joke. Like that's all I can say. It's a joke. But like if it keeps on happening again next season, then I'm gonna make a big complaint like to every single person that I know about this VR thingy. Because if I had my way as an Arsenal fan, yeah, like if I was like working for the club, I'd even question the referee saying, why would you disallow that goal if like a player gets found in the box or the player's in the right position? Why are you checking VAR for when you know that they're in the right position? It was a clear goal. I would question that referee if I was like, if I was manager, like let's say if I was working for Oxford Football Club, whether like he's doing like anything like being a manager for Oxford Football Club. If I was Arteta, yeah, I would question the referee and ask him why you disallowed a goal in like that Champions League qualifying against Bayern Munich and all that, because even the manager knew that it was a clear penalty, but that day because I remember Saka was not happy. He went complaining to the referee asking that why are you not giving that pen? You saw how I got found in the box. Some Arsenal fans here were saying that a player that that gets found in the box here, like the referee didn't even kick him in the leg. He just put his step and then he tripped over. That's an absolute lie. He literally made he wanted to kick Saka in the leg and he tripped. Fans say that's not a penalty. They're having a laugh. That is actually
it was a clear cut penalty, mate. And the thing is about it as well is that
were you at the game? Were you at the game that day?
I was at the game. I was at the game. I looked like I'd just lost the plot, mate, because it was pretty much the last. I was fuming. I was fuming, and I had fans turning to me and looking at me like I was, sort of mad. But I just was like, how can you not give that as a penalty?
I was even raging that day a lot because I was raging like cussing at that referee because to be honest, people nowadays, yeah, that whenever I complain about VAR and all that, people like to call me a disgraceful fan, but yet, sorry to say this, they are quite deluded. Those are for people that know me, yeah, like especially me, my DMs, Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea fans, yeah, they say this to me all the time, like, you're deluded, you don't know the nature of football, but I'm sorry, if you don't know what VAR is all about, like when a player gets found in the box and is in the right position, you must be like, I don't know how to say it, but like, you're weird, you're having a laugh, because if people want to call me a disgraceful fan for showing that sort of passion, I'm sorry, I had every right to show that passion because that referee really wound up so many fans. That I think it's not just that; it's been happening in so many other games. Like I can name every single Arsenal game that I've been to that I've seen that happen with VAR. That they do that. They did that against Wolves at Emirates. I know that I could go on and on, but you know what I mean. And I've heard other Arsenal fans like complain about it to me like on messages, like people who like support me a lot, and I know you had that discussion with with one of your colleagues yesterday as well. So to be honest with you, if we don't want these things to like really happen, yeah, this is for like the whole world. Like this is for like Arsenal Football Club. Arsenal Football Club need to look back on VAR because when people like that are watching what's going on and all that, like when they see what's going on the pitch. People like that are in charge of like everything, like with the VAR, like commentators in the studio, like they even said the same thing as well that we're saying right now that was a clear penalty. Why referee did not I don't know, because to be honest with you, VAR is like ruining every single game. It's that if you check the VAR, like when it's a clear goal, you're ruining the match. You're ruining the match. You're wasting so much time. It's what you call waste of time, like even like during like a whole 90-minute, because if a referee checks VAR, you're wasting time within your 90-minute games. If you agree with what I'm saying on that.
Yeah, and this is the thing, and this is something you alluded to earlier, Josh. The fan experience is completely different now. When I started going to football, when a goal went in, my first game was in a Highbury in 2004. So I've been going for a very long time, but I remember
you've been going more than me. Actually, you've been to more games than me.
Yeah, and it's astonishing because back then and until a few seasons ago, you could celebrate a goal properly. A goal went in, you knew it was going to be given. As long as the linesman didn't flag, you knew it was fine. Whereas now, we're in this position where, and I said to the guys last night, 7-8 minute checks to see if a goal was going to be allowed or not. And that is not conducive to a good fan experience. I'm sorry, they need to change that. You don't have that in cricket. You don't have that in rugby. You don't have that in tennis. So why have we got it in football?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like the guys, what you're not wrong. Like in other sports here, they will never do that. Like I even said to myself, yeah, like when I first heard of VAR, that was when I was like really young, was an Arsenal fan. Yeah, I got taught it by my dad, and I was like, what's this VAR thing in football? Like, who really created VAR in this life? Whoever created VAR in this life is so stupid and like delusional in my opinion because, like, yeah, I agree with you. It never happens in other sports. Don't like, in my opinion, yeah, they should just ban it for real. Like, ban it. I wish things like that happen next season where they just ban VAR and never allow it because we as Arsenal fans should decide of what not should happen next season, especially when Arsenal want to win the league. If we want to win, if we want to like win games, like so like Arsenal players could score and gain more points than any other teams in the Premier League, like Manchester City. You know what VAR are doing to us? VR is just stopping us from they're spoiling the game, stopping us from winning the league. I watch Manchester City. Don't get me wrong. When I watch Manchester City and I see Erling Haaland, Phil Foden, or Kevin De Bruyne score, they don't do that with them players. Them top players of all times in Manchester City, they will never do that with them. Why did they do that with Saka, Kai Havertz, and all that? It's annoying. Like, what they don't do that at Manchester City. They don't do that with Liverpool. They don't do that with Chelsea. And all that. They don't do that with Chelsea either. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, we seem to be on the wrong end. We seem to be on the wrong end a lot of the time, and that's problematic. Now, you've got a fan experience that is worse as a result of VAR. You've got poor decisions being made. And actually, I'm going to shout out to Liverpool fans here. A good mate of mine's a Liverpool fan, and I reminded him last night that Spurs game that Liverpool played, they were absolutely robbed Liverpool by a dreadful, dreadful decision. And it seems to me that there are more big mistakes being made now we've got VAR as opposed to when we didn't have VAR. So the question is, can we reform it so it works better and you and I and other fans aren't having these sorts of discussions, or is it just too bad and it just has to go?
Mm-hmm. It just has to go for real, like permanently go. If I was manager or owner, I would say stop this VAR. Have a chat with the referee, who from the Premier League, and you wait for as well. The referees who you wait for Champions League games, like for our games, like in Champions League and all that. I would say please stop this VAR thing. It's really annoying for the fans. The fans are fed up of it. They just don't want it because you're just ruining it, and then you're just making it so unfair for the club, the fans. It's annoying. You should just don't even do it. In fact, don't even just do it for our club. Don't do it for the nature of football. Do you get me? Like in the whole nature of football, Because you said, they will never do it in other sports. Whether they do it in basketball, whether they do it in rugby, will never do it in other sports. So don't do it here in football. Like enough is enough because it really, really winds me up a lot. The most thing I really hate in the nature of football is actually VAR. And I'm just so glad that I'm having this discussion with you because I've had enough of VAR nowadays. Now it's really annoying, and I just hope in the Euros, when it comes to being England, they don't do that either because it needs to stop.
Is it a cancer in football?
It's just it feels like what VR feels like to me. It feels like it's just illegal and inappropriate. It's inappropriate for the fans because it's just something that pisses people off a lot nowadays. I find it inappropriate and illegal that it can make Arsenal fans to spread rumors to the whole world, and that's not good, is it? I mean, we are Arsenal Football Club. We're not like shit clubs, of course. We're not like shit clubs like Chelsea, West Ham. I mean, on all that. I think they do it West Ham, but where West Ham are now, I feel back West Ham. They should stop doing West Ham either, because I feel for West Ham. Obviously, the nature of football with VAR just needs to stop because when I first heard of it, and I was just like, nah, I wish it never existed because football is unfair when it comes to VAR. It's not the players' position, the way they play. The way they play is fire. When they know when to score, like Kai Havertz could run up and score. He's always playing in the right position. He doesn't make his position bad. It's just referees that are being unfair that they don't even open their eyes. Do you agree with me that referees just don't open their eyes and see when it comes to being games like Arsenal?
Yeah, I think there's two distinct problems. First is that VAR is not being used properly. It was meant to be there to be utilized in the proper way, to have the same standards for every club, and that's not happening. And the second problem is shit referees, and there are a lot of shit referees. Now, that's a more difficult problem to get rid of. Okay, so we're not going to get rid of VAR because they voted to keep it, which is one thing. But the other problem we got is I think the standard of referees in the Premier League is worse than in any other major league. So
it
I
is.
think we need
the VAR in the Premier League is worse than any other thing. That's the most thing for me. Forget Champions League. It's mostly Premier League that happens. I barely see that in Champions League. Mostly Premier League.
Yeah. So we need to either reform VAR to make it work a lot better, so it helps fan experience, helps player experience, helps managers. Actually does what it's meant to do on the tin. And the other thing we need to do is we need to find a way of getting better refereeing in place. Now, is that through hiring other referees from other leagues? Is that from we were talking last night about paying referees more? Is that something we should do? I mean, these guys are Premier League referees. They're on £70,000 a year. But I doubt that's all they get. I think they probably get match fees. They get this, they get that. I think the problem is there is an element of bias in refereeing. Now, a lot of the referees are from Manchester area. And lo and behold, it seems that Manchester City normally get penalties. Manchester City normally get things going in their favour. Now, I'm sure so many people are going to watch this and go, oh, well, you're a deluded Arsenal fan and, you're talking
They need to shut up. They need to shut up. They know nothing about what they know. They open their mouths and start talking absolute rubbish, absolute dog shit. They will have no clue what they're talking about. Like, I don't know what's wrong with other football fans nowadays. Like, because to be honest with you, I don't want to call referee names how they do it all the time. Like, I don't want to call it out because it will look as if like, I'm like too against them and all that. But like, to be honest with you, I just feel like I wish it was just permanently gone, and the club could let us decide on what we don't even want for next season. And then the club, as in like Arteta, the owner, can think about it for like the nature of football. To be honest with you, because I don't see it in big clubs like City, Liverpool, and all that. It should not do with us. Like what? We're not like a rough and aggressive club. Football is meant for contact sport. No matter how it is, just take it. Okay, if a player gets fouled in the box, just like don't check VAR. Just look and then just point it at the box and say that's a pen. Don't check VAR. Like don't check VAR. Or even like, because what's the point when you go checking VAR? One thing you have a linesman, in Premier League. One thing in Premier League, like in the nature of football, apart from VAR, one thing you need to have is like in the nature of football, not just refereeing. Like you see what's going on when there's a foul or offside. You need a linesman as well, linesman that will be there to see if the player is playing in the right position to score. And once it's offside, that linesman will just hold the flag up. That's what should be in the nature of football. Never the VAR, because VAR that is meant for checking and all that. But now you don't need to check for VAR. You've got a linesman. Linesman is better than the VAR, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're making a good point, and I think what you're saying is VAR shouldn't be used for simple decisions like a penalty or, to be honest, with the offside situation in the Champions League, you've got it all automated. It's all automated, so they quite literally can't get it wrong. If it says on the automated system it's an offside, it's an offside. So why don't we bring that into the Premier League? Because then it's offside, even if it's by like a whisker, like the Coventry goal in the Coventry Man United game. Coventry missed out on going to the final because they were denied a last-minute goal because VAR ruled it out. And I think they found that the guy's almost like his toenail was offside. Barely offside. But that's a bigger discussion, because then you're talking about, do we need to change the rules of football? But I think VAR is overused so much to the extent that it's re-refereeing the game. So it's almost got to a point where VAR is the referee, not the ref on the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, to be honest, ref on the field, I prefer, because they at least like run from one place to another. Check, like, don't leave it to the referee that will have to walk all the way off the pitch to check something to see if that's like a true thing or not, or it's a true prayer, because it's what you call wasting time. You know that. Mm-hmm. You're basically wasting time in the game. Just let the linesman do it for at least a second, and then the fans will know that that it will be offside or not. But yeah, that is the thing. But like, obviously, I like what I said. I've already said before, linesman is just better than VR. But to be honest with you, I know all still players like ain't gonna give up on like still fighting for the league title next season, because if they keep doing it more next season, like, can I be honest with you? It's not like some of the Arsenal players that don't play rubbish at all, that they know when to fight for the league title, like we did against Everton. Yeah, one thing, they did it on the last game of the season as well. I remember when I was in the ground against Everton, they were checking to see if that goal was supposed to be 2-1, but it was. And imagine
Yeah.
we did not even get at least a second goal against Everton. It was just 1-1. City would have had 3 points than us, rather than like they were 2 points ahead, because when it was 2-1, yeah, we had like, I think we had 8 points, yeah, and in the league we were second that day when we had 8 points in the league. That happened 3 weeks ago, and City had 90. If West Ham had drew to them, yeah, and imagine Arsenal were to score, and then they disallow, like, I think it was Tommy Yasu. I think, yeah, it was Tommy Yasu. I think then they disallowed Tommy Yasu's goal, and then if West Ham drew, imagine that. It would have been our fault that we didn't even win that trophy. On that, I was going to say it would be the referee's fault because he went to check VAR. A referee just wants to spoil the nature of football for our club, and it's just annoying. So some of these referees, yeah, in my opinion, just really like Arsenal, because there really needs to be a VAR. Like if referees of nowadays, in Premier League mostly still want to keep VAR. Yeah, okay, let not the like stupid referees. Yeah, like people complain about Anthony Taylor, of course, that he doesn't know how to referee a game, for example. Sorry to call him out like that, but like I can use him as an example. Play like referees like him, Stuart Atwell, any other referee who cannot referee a properly game to go and check VAR. Let the real ones do it. Like, and not check VAR. Even if there has to be VAR, let the real ones, don't have to check VAR. Know when it's like a penalty or offside. Don't have to check VAR. Like, VAR's just not. VAR's not going to be help all the time, in my opinion. If I was a referee and a player got foul in the box, yeah, and a player was in the right position, I will know when it's a foul or like to be a penalty, and I will know when it's not a goal or not, like it's offside. I wouldn't waste time checking VAR because any referee checks it. It's just waste time, in my opinion. I mean, I just Arsenal win the league, but if VAR keeps happening for us next season, we're gonna really struggle along the league, and that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. And I think what I'm going to say about the Arsenal situation with VAR, I think the perfect title for this video is there bias against Arsenal with VAR? And I think the answer to that question is a resounding yes. Now, you can find, anybody who's watching this video, go on YouTube, type in Arsenal bias VAR, and they'll come up with loads of videos. You'll find loads of videos. I'm going to give you some evidence. Villa away, Havertz should have been a goal. Newcastle away should have been the goal should have been chalked off, so it should have been 0-0. We lost the game 1-0.
Even in the FA Cup 2020 final as well, it should have been a goal as well.
Yeah.
That reminded me, they did an offside, or they did a VAR check as well. Yeah, it was wasting time. It was pissing off Arsenal fans. So that was really annoying. I remember.
Yeah. And then red cards. Look at all of the red cards Xhaka got. Look at the time Martinelli got.
And David Luiz as well. David Luiz got red card as well. He got sent off in the FA Cup final, and I felt really sorry for him. The FA Cup final was something big, and David Luiz gets sent off in a cup final. What's wrong with all these referees that check VAR and then send them off? What is going on in the nature of football? It's been going on for so many years, because I think like you start going like Arsenal games, like even like since they won, you went like Highbury, and obviously I wasn't even born then. That time you were going to Arsenal games in Highbury. As for me, of course, I started going to Arsenal games like 2 seasons ago, of course, and I remember like the second time I was going, also versus Fulham, yeah. I think the referee was like checking VAR against Fulham and checking to see if that's like a clear goal or not. And then even like the fact that when players got fouled in the box, the referee didn't even give that a penalty. He went to check VAR. I remember that was like my second time going to an Arsenal game. I just felt like that day had not to be my the best day for me. Even in the Champions League, Arsenal versus Bayern was my first ever Champions League game I've ever been to already. Literally, that was my first Champions League ever, and it was ruined. I was like to be honest with you, they almost tear me apart that day, because I would have been so happy if he had given a penalty. I would make it 3-2. 3-2.
We'd have won the game.
We would have, because it was 3-2. Yeah, if he had given that penalty when he knew that goalkeeper kicked Saka's leg. If he had knew that was supposed to be a penalty and he had given that, we would have won. And not just that only. In the second leg, when Arsenal went away to Bayern Munich, like they went to Allianz Arena in in Baku, literally that place where Arsenal just had to like fight and just score one goal, which will be 1-0 to Arsenal, and then 3-2 on aggregate.
Yeah.
Like instead of it it could have been 3-2. 3-2 would have make it 3-2 on aggregate. If they scored one, that would be 4-2 on aggregate. Before you even know it, would have been like to the semi-final versus like which teams? I think either Manchester City, Real Madrid, or Dortmund. But I think we'll probably be versus probably Dortmund. Obviously we're better than Dortmund, of course. We were this close to getting to the semi-final. Yeah, we're like 2 steps away from Wembley. Because we as fans really wanted to go to Wembley, of course, and yeah. It's a sad thing, That's why I've been so pissed off all season about VAR that I just wish they just banned it for the rest of the football whole of football nature, like not just in Premier League, in Champions League, in Europa League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, La Liga, everything.
Yeah, I mean, these decisions matter. These decisions are worth millions of pounds to clubs.
It's too expensive, in my opinion. These referees are getting paid so much money every week. That's the thing, and weekend outs as well.
I don't believe so. So somebody on the channel last night, one of my guests looked up the amount that referees are paid, and he said that they were paid £70,000 a year.
That's a lot.
Now, I think I think they probably get more than that, because they probably get match fees as well, independent of their salary. So I think they're paid a lot more than that personally. But I think really just to kind of have some sort of concluding views, I think VAR needs to be majorly overhauled. I think the standard of refereeing needs to be improved massively. Now, how they do that, I don't know. That's going to be challenging for them. Those two things need to change. And anybody watching this video, if you think that I am talking nonsense about there being bias against Arsenal, then you really do need to do a lot more research, because I think there's a lot of...
Yeah, and to be honest, I've seen how people they make fun of us comments. Yeah, like we get a lot of haters. They're basically called haters. Whatever we say, I criticize how maybe player get fouled, the referee corrupts the game. It happens. I remember on my channel. I remember when I was talking about Arsenal versus Aston Villa. There was this one thing that reminded me. Referee didn't do anything. That goalkeeper for Aston Villa is a waste time, and that referee should have booked him. But the referee just stood there like a robot, not allowing him allowing him to get away with it, because it's what Aston Villa that qualified for Champions League. They never checked their VAR when they were running up to score. And I was at that game that day. I had to be there because it would have been the only way we would have won that league. But the referee corrupted it because he was wasting time. Couldn't even book the players that fouled Arsenal players, even the goalkeeper that was wasting so much time. You had how fans were booing that goalkeeper in the stadium. You have Aston Villa know that referees are just selfish for our club, and some of these referees that want to referee our club should just never ever referee our club again. Let the real ones who do it. Because if every single time I criticize referees, people like to abuse me on my channel in the comments, you not just you, it happens to me. Anyone who wants to criticize me for criticizing referees when it comes to VAR, I'm sorry, it's deluded. I'm sorry to use that word deluded, because they need to understand when they watch football, not just my club. If they watch Manchester City, if they watch Liverpool, they don't do that with them. Those big teams that won more than us. Why do they do it with us? I don't know. People like to criticize me when I mention referees. I have every right to blame them if I want to, because they correct every single game when we lose. When we lose most of these games, like when we lost to West Ham, when we lost to Fulham, not just for the fact that the Arsenal players just couldn't even fight for any of 2023 last year. It's referees, refereeing as well. Even against Bayern Munich as well in the quarterfinal as well. And Aston Villa, these games that we literally even win. Because that one against Bayern Munich, that felt like a loss to me mostly. It felt like a loss to me. It was my first Champions League game. It really felt like a loss to me. Because we didn't even win. We didn't win. We were so close to winning. Think of it. Do you think we would have gone to the semi-final if the referee had given that penalty? Do you think we would have even make it 4-2 an aggregate and make it to the semi-final? Because it could have happened,
I think had he given the penalty, we'd have scored the penalty. We would have won the game 3-2. And then at the Allianz Arena in Munich, I think even if Bayern still won that game 1-0, it would have gone to extra time. and
exactly.
you don't know what was going to happen in extra
Yeah,
time.
it would. Yeah, it would be 3-3 an argument that would have gone to extra time. Because speaking of it, I wouldn't want a situation where that one, yeah, the Arsenal should have just like at least just fight for it until they get the penalties, because they're really good at penalties. But like when Bayern Munich scored, they didn't even check there to see if it was VAR, because they just wanted them. It's cheating. That's just the nature of football. It's basically called cheating. You're being so selfish. You're cheating. You're unfair. It's what you call cheating. And yeah, I mean, obviously, we could have won if just Arsenal players just like have fought for it against Aston Villa in order for us to win, rather than just not just only VAR. They just like know when to work together, play together well, and know when to communicate. Because what you call communication, that's what it's there for.
Exactly, and I think personally for me, I think refereeing needs to be improved massively. I think last night we talked about getting a referee points board, so referees being scored out of a certain amount of numbers. I mean, you could go out of 10, give a referee points out of 10 every week, and have a board of people judging their performances and judging how well they're using the VAR. The match day experience needs to change. These really long, drawn-out decisions where fans are waiting 10 minutes sometimes to actually get an outcome on these decisions, that needs to change. And I think the whole thing needs to be massively, massively reformed. Now, as I said before, we're going to sort of wrap up with a couple of thoughts. So I've given my thoughts on how I think we can improve. Josh, I'm going to ask you, if there was a couple of things you would do to change refereeing and VAR, other than scrapping it, what would those things be that you change, try and make it better?
To be honest with you, Adam, if it was like to change it for next season, yeah, I would not even just like if I was let's just say, okay, let me just use me example. I was refereeing a game, yeah. I would not go to check to see, yeah. I would not go to check to see if it's like penalty and all that. I would just check with my eye. So what I think should happen next season, yeah, with Arsenal. I mean, I know Arsenal are going to fight to win the league and try and fight to win trophies. Yes, I know Arsenal players will be working on that. Arteta will sit back and reflect on what he has done, even when he put wrong selections against Aston Villa. But apart from that, the most important thing right now is for us as Arsenal fans, you, me, and for all the Arsenal fans around the world. Yeah, for any of you, man, yeah, that are watching this, yeah. I'll tell you something, and this is for this semester for all of you watching this. The way this could change is for referee just to check, and like referee on the pitch, and then just the linesman. That is it. No, like they can still be VAR, but let the linesman do the job. Let not the VAR do it, because VAR that literally clocks every single fouling that happens in the box that will lead to penalty. Now let not the VAR just clock everything. Let just be the linesman that will check it with its eyes. Because that's what a linesman is there for. It's referee as an linesman. That's his job.
Yeah, agree. I think it needs to be used only for specific scenarios, and the referee should be allowed to referee the game. Referees are going to make mistakes. Nothing is perfect in life. We can never make something 100% perfect, but we should be doing our best to make it as good as possible. Now, I've explained everybody why I think Arsenal have drawn the short straw with refereeing, VAR and decisions. Hit me with your comments, even the ones where you say I'm talking rubbish, because I do love a good spar with people. I've been having a lot of
used to all that. To be honest, we're used to all that. But people like go easy on me in the comments as well. I know people like to criticize me nowadays as an Arsenal fan. I mean, I've got the passion, but people should go easy on me in the comments as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, anybody watching this is a good point, actually. So I'm going to make this point. Anybody watching YouTube videos, remember that the people making the content, okay, are people with feelings, emotions, and it can get somebody down if they are personally attacked. Please don't do that. Please be kind. If you disagree, if you disagree with our opinion, be respectful about it.
Yeah.
We're happy to debate. We're happy to have a debate, but we're not happy to be abused or attacked. That's not on.
Yeah, we're just like, we're happy to hear your thoughts. Like, we're happy to hear your thoughts, but like your thoughts can just say, okay, you could just say, like, for example, like you agree with us, but don't say we're deluded and this and that. Don't call us deluded, this and that. I mean, I know I did say they were deluded, but I basically were talking about the refereeing and all that, because that's also, we're not the only ones. There's so many Arsenal fans out there that cuss referees out. And that's the nature of football. That's what being a passionate supporter is all about.
Exactly. That's
go
it.
easy on us in the comments. That's just a warning to you. Like, no matter what you say, just say you disagree, and we're happy to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, no, exactly. Couldn't have put that better myself. Yeah, just be mindful. We are content creators, but we are people as well. So there we go. We've had a little discussion tonight about VAR and refereeing. We both think things need to change, and we both think Arsenal have suffered over the years with some of these decisions. Now, on Ardent Gooners Network, we have got I've got Josh joining me again next week, but we have two guests. Two really amazing guests. We've got Lee Judges from Arsenal Fan TV,
and we've got Graham from AFTV
as well from the Tactical Insight Show. Please join us. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh, yeah. And just to let you know, like, you man, I want to let you know, good point, Adam. Like, speaking of that, Graham is like the most positive and fantastic Arsenal fan you ever know from AFTV. A friend of mine, I sometimes see my Arsenal games. We always talk after the Arsenal games. I haven't seen him in a while, but always keep in contact with him. So big shout out to Graham that he would be watching this vid. We can't wait to have you on, Graham, next week, and also the judges as well. They're great Arsenal fans from AFTV that you would ever meet. For any of the Arsenal fans, I've not met AFTV yet, but until then, yes, do make sure to stay tuned. It's going to be, we're going to have a really great time discussing about Arsenal.
It's going to be great. And so with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave your comments on what you think needs to be changed. How would you amend VAR? How would you change refereeing? Or do you think it needs to be changed at all? Let me know your opinions. Would love to know. And please join us again next week. Please follow Josh. I'll let you read out your socials, mate, again, so people can follow you. Go ahead. Your channels are
my Instagram is just like Joshua.ekpong will be linked in the description below. That's my Instagram, and my YouTube channel Joshua.etv will also be linked in the description below. So just open the description and you will see my Instagram and my YouTube. Click on the links and mostly my Instagram if you want to have a chat with me about Arsenal. Feel free to do that. I would be more than delighted to listen to any of your conversations.
Yeah, so there we go. Please follow Josh on his socials, and please like, subscribe, and comment on Ardent Gooners Network. We've got our Instagram now as well. You can find me on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. And finally, more importantly, this is the big badge.
I should have had my Arsenal jersey on me. I didn't even know you were wearing it. If I had known that you were wearing it, I would have worn the same thing as well. But yeah, don't worry, man. Yeah, you've seen me on his channel wearing that Arsenal jersey he's wearing, and I have that away kit as well. I'm still the most passionate Arsenal fan you would ever know.
He is. I can certainly vouch for him. He's a very passionate Arsenal fan. Go follow his socials. Come on, you Gunners. Okay, and see you in the next one.
Okay, thank you for having me.